This is my iPad Pro, and I've owned it for about 2 years now, and without even really realizing, this is a tool I use pretty much every single day, and in this video I'm going to talk about how I use it and what I use it for. Firstly, this is my go-to device when I'm editing short-form content. Recently, I started to post a lot on Instagram Reels and TikToks, just sharing my process and stuff like that. And I don't always need a full laptop setup in order to do so. This is the perfect need in between a phone and an actual laptop. I feel like a laptop can be a little bit overkill sometimes if I just want to like edit in a coffee shop or something like that. And then a phone just isn't enough like screen real estate in order to actually edit something. This is such first world problems, but that's where this device really comes in for me. In terms of the software I use to actually edit, I use DaVinci Resolve for iPad. I've edited full YouTube videos on this iPad, and I think that's where it falls a little bit short. I like editing a lot more on my laptop for longer form stuff, just because it's more intuitive to have like a Finder window and not using that weird Files app, which I'm really not a fan of. I bought the iPad before my MacBook because if you're an OG to this channel, you remember I used to have a Hackintosh, which was a desktop computer, and I wasn't able to bring that around anywhere with me, of course. So I needed a device to fill in that gap, to bring something on the go with me. Would I use it to fully replace my laptop? Probably not, but to get small short form content, this is my go-to device for that. So next up, this is my pre-production device. We got Zoe with us now, everyone. When I'm doing something like a location scout, I actually like to use my iPad instead of my phone because there's more screen real estate, obviously. So I actually use CADridge. It's an app where you can type in specific camera and lenses, and it shows you the actual frame size. And instead of holding a phone and having 5 people crowd you, you could just show them on the iPad, and it's a lot easier to explain what you're thinking. I had an older iPad in the past, and I had this case for it that you can actually it had a strap, you can just throw it over your shoulder, and you can actually like wear it on set. You'll see a lot of other gaffers and directors doing this as well. And this is great because you can just like constantly refer back to your shot list, your schedule, instead of holding like a million pieces of paper. And Milanote is honestly probably the only time I use the Apple Pencil, is when I have like location scout photos and I'm drawing like lighting diagrams or something like that on there. Otherwise, that's the only time I use the pen. So if you were looking into getting an actual iPad, probably don't bother with the pen. It's also great to make treatments on iPads as well. I find it's a little bit more intuitive to like drag around photos and text box and stuff like that when you have a touch screen, and you could be more precise and it's a little bit more interactive versus just using the trackpad on a MacBook or a laptop. Even when I go to pre-production meetings and coffee meetings and stuff like that, I always bring this. That way, like, start talking about work and they want to share something, I want to share something. It's just a lot better to like carry this instead of looking at a phone, and I feel like a laptop is like a little bit too big. Honestly, I'm pretty basic when it comes to my apps as well. I use the Notes app as well. I'm a big note taker and checklist kind of guy. So always I'm just using my Notes app on iPad, on my phone, on my laptop. Everything is integrated. We all know that Apple is like amazing for that. Okay, next up, another one of my favorite features I use my iPad for is I actually use it as a second monitor for my laptop with DaVinci Resolve and just like everyday tasks. So I use the iPad as a video clean feed in order to see the full picture on here. And then I use my laptop to actually like view the timeline. That way you can just have the timeline as big as possible. If you have like a ton of video tracks, it's really nice for that. Also, everyone is viewing content on their iPhone, so what better way to color your work than on an actual iPad, where you can see what it's actually going to look like on an iPhone where most people consume their content, versus spending like thousands of dollars on a color grading monitor when you can get an iPad that does more than just one thing. That was initially the primary reason why I bought an iPad, to actually see what it will look like on a bigger screen, but then I saw it could do way more stuff than just that, so that's what I use it for now. Not only is it color accurate, but I like to view my work on different devices in different rooms of my house, because I find it's a lot more refreshing than sitting right here staring at the same screen. You need to like change up your environment in order to come into a project with fresh eyes and view things from a fresh perspective. Besides all the useful stuff that I use my iPad for, this is what I call my daily scroller as well, which is my next point. So we all have phones, of course, and I find these things way too addicting. They fit in your pocket and they're just so easy to pick up and get distracted with. So I actually, most of the time, I have my phone set to grayscale mode, so I'm not using it as much. And I even have this app called Jomo, which locks me out of my cell phone. You see, if I try to open up Instagram there, This thing shows up. If I try to hit unlock, there's this timer, it counts down from 5 seconds. Each time I bypass this, the time keeps going up and up and up. So the iPad comes in to fill that gap when I do have downtime and I wanna go on Instagram or TikTok. I'll use this, and this is so brain rotty, but I'll use a bigger screen to scroll on Instagram and TikTok. And I just think it's better to have like a little bit of boundaries on my phone, and this is kind of like my fun device, if you will. This thing was a great investment, and I do use it pretty much every single day in my day-to-day workflow, but only get one if you're gonna use it for these like weird niche problems that you face as a filmmaker, doing stuff for location scouting, pre-production, and uploading social content and stuff like that. It's great for, but besides that, you can definitely get away with just using your phone and a laptop, to be totally honest. If you like this video and want to see more videos like this, then check out this one I have queued up here. Subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll see you in the next.